STUPS. Now we're going to have a look at what's happening in the French papers. Nick Rushworth is joining us here on set. Starting off with more protests on the cards this week. It's not over yet. Unions piling on the pressure on the government over its planned reform of employment law, Nick.
Hi to you, Stuart. And let's look right away at L'Opinion, one of the main right-wing papers here in France. And it is reporting that queues, Stuart, over the weekend were seen at certain petrol stations. Now, motorists filling up as workers are blockading 4 out of 8 of France's refineries. The government is saying there is no shortage. The paper has a cartoon there, if you look closely, of one union leader of the CGT, Philippe Martinez, and he's shown taking a selfie. And he's saying to himself, I'm making more of a buzz than the Cannes Film Festival with all this protest.
And one of the papers is asking whether the government's suggestion that there are no shortages is really true.
Well, Le Parisien-Aujourd'hui-en-France is saying that 1,500 petrol stations have got shortages. There's some kind of rationing in place. There you can see its article. Now, it's reporting that from the west of the country that one woman, Isabel, said, well, I got to drive 200 kilometers a day. Wow. So I'm using my husband's credit card so I can get 2 loads of 20 litres each for my car, just in case. Another guy, Claude, 69 years of age, says, I've got 3 cars. I'm only driving the 2 chevaux, but the 3 of them have got full tanks. So, of course, there's a sense of panic there. Some of that's seen online, according to Le Parisien-Aujourd'hui-en-France, which is saying that one guy is selling online petrol, a jerry can's worth 15 litres for €225, so a sting there of 15 euros a litre. That paper, of course, as you said, warning that we're looking for a tough week ahead in terms of protests here in France. The reform of the employment law is not going away as a bugbear for this government, is it? The protests on the streets, and the majority of French people feel that the reform is too much in favour of the bosses and erodes workers' rights.
OK, well, that's the latest on that. Another story for you now. One of the other papers is looking at rather a different kind of traffic. This is the drugs trade this time.
Well, this is Libération's top story this Monday about François Thierry. Now, he's the former head of France's Office for the Battle Against Drug Trafficking. That organisation is called STUPS. There you can see the headline. And it is saying that what we've got here is François Thierry now not in the job, but they argue he was connected in some way with one of Europe's biggest traffickers, a man called Sofiane H. And he had François Thierry's protection. And that Thierry played a central role in importing dozens of tons of cannabis to Cannes. I looked through the whole article and felt, well, what the article is trying to convey is that the agency, the body, is saying that, yes, it was doing that as part of its job, as part of surveillance. The revelations in Libération are pointing to certain discrepancies about the numbers of tons of cannabis, but it's saying that overall there needs to be oversight of this overseeing body, and that there are lots of questions, which, of course, we'll hear a bit more about during the week.
Now, it is not all doom and gloom in the French papers. The Catholic Daily, they're leading on news that the French, I think this is true, they actually like politics.
Well, it's a political nation, isn't it? The Croix, the Catholic Daily, leading
always
on
a good political debate to be had.
It has a survey, Stuart, saying that 60%, 3 out of 5 French people actually like politics. And La Croix is saying disenchantment with the political elites is not lack of interest. And it is up now for the French politicians to battle the distrust people are expressing by not promising one thing and then another to get into power and then doing something different once they are in power. The article in the La Croix this Monday begins, Vive la politique. Politics is dead, vive la politique. So, of course, that's, Stuart, it's all to do with the presidential elections now, less than a year to go, aren't there? So it has 3 weeks of reports about long-live politics.
OK. Guess what we're going to finish with? Cannes Film Festival.
That's the headline for lots of papers. Let's go to the freebie, 20 minutes, which is saying that the Cannes jury has taken up social themes. Now, that's not the cocktail party after the screening, is it? It's to do with social, which is all about industrial protests and the plight of people facing, as far as Ken Loach is concerned, the winner of Cannes this year, the effect of EU austerity on millions of people. The key quote for 20 minutes is that Loach saying EU austerity measures have caused misery for people across Europe. Now, the French edition of Slate is also leading on Ken Loach, saying, and also Xavier Dolan, who won the Grand Prix prize, saying that the consensus among critics was disappointment.
Yeah.
They were not happy at all. And Slate says, surprise, surprise, it's not a democracy at Cannes. It is meant to displease. It's made to displease people. And a jury of 9 people are not going to have a critical consensus. So I felt a bit sad that the critics were very angry against Loach and also against Xavier Dolan. There you can see him crying as he wins up the Grand Prix prize for his movie It's Only the End of the World. And that's the end of this press review.
Okay, yes. Only the end of the press review rather than the end of the world, we hope. Anyway, thank you very much, Nick. Nick Rush with the papers on France 24. Just before the break, just going to bring you some breaking news that's been coming into us. This is from Barack Obama, who's actually on his visit to Vietnam at the moment, but he's confirmed in the last few moments the death of the head of the Afghan Taliban, Mullah Akhtar Mansour. Of course, he was struck in a strike in neighbouring Pakistan over the weekend, but according to Barack Obama, he's just confirmed that death. It had been unconfirmed over the weekend. But according to Obama, he has been killed. Also coming up in the next half an hour in Focus, we're going to be reporting from Tunisia, where the country is gearing up for the tourist season. That season, though, inevitably hit by the 2 terrorist attacks on tourists there last year. So what is the country doing to try to reassure? Special report in the next half an hour.